And winter and stuff. Thank you everyone for coming. I think most of you all know, my name's Kev Howlett and I run Busybird with Les, who will be your MC tonight. Thank you all for coming and supporting the creative community that Busybird loves. I must say, I just felt like saying that I've been to a few book launches in the last month, and as Michelle would know, but I've been to a few others as well, and I'm really blown away by the love and support that Busybird gets when I go to these events, and people just gush over us, and it just makes me want to do it and create these communities and stuff like that. So thank you to everyone out there for giving me the kind of passion to keep going with it all. There is something a little more different tonight that I'm going to do. Tonight we actually have a timer. Tonight we have 4 minutes per person, and we can count down. So people in the audience will know when this bell is coming. So Les will give you the rules with that, but we'll all know when the ding-ding is coming, and if you are reading here, you can glance back and go, oh no, I've only got 30 seconds left. So it might help out a little bit and get to know where you are in your pieces. So I will be doing that from the back. So I will now hand over to Les, your MC tonight, and have a fun evening. Thank you.
You get electrocuted if you go out. That's cool.
She's taking our jobs.
Is someone still doing the time though?
Yeah, someone time.
Who's doing it?
Oh, they can actually go off that and they can do the dinger. Just so we know.
So who's going to do the time? Is it Tess or?
I'll do it here.
No, but I mean someone doing it independently, like one of the interns. Like,
We want an adjudicator.
oh, just because they need to know the 3:30 ding.
Oh, okay. Can someone do that?
That's Tess. So rules are you get 4 minutes. So hang on, I'm Les for those of you who haven't met me. I was totally against this. Found it just so draconian, just horrible. Like I said, Kev, you can't do this. Where are we? Nazi Germany or something? I am responsible for the trapdoor under the stage. At 4 minutes, it will just open and catapult you down, but not for the timer. I would never do something like that. So at 3 minutes 30, you'll get a ding saying you have, which indicates you have 30 seconds left. And at 4 minutes, you'll get, and that doesn't mean you have to stop right then and there. You know, you can finish your sentence, finish your paragraph. Just don't feel that it's probably the right time to finish a couple more pages or 5 more pages or anything like that. Because at 4 minutes 30, you get this. And at 4 minutes 35, I'll just walk up here and resume hosting the night, even if you're standing next to me. So they're the rules of sorts. We'll also be doing a raffle. And did you do the spin it and wing it thing?
There's 3 people in the spin it and wing it tonight.
Cool. So this is an improv opportunity. If people want to put their name into the basket, and if they're chosen, they go up, they spin the wheel, and then they get about a minute to think about it, and then have to do about 2 minutes of improv on whatever comes up on the wheel in whichever way they want to do it. But you don't, it's not mandatory, so if you don't want to do it. All right, so I'm not going to call you up on the order that you are on the running sheet because, sometimes you might get a lot of poetry in a row, a lot of short story in a row, whatever the case. So I am going to start with Jen, who is reading her novel, Dolores Continued. Everyone please welcome Jen.
I think I'm going to have to read a lot faster than I normally do. So this is a continuation of Dolores. So this is day 3 post-surgery. Day 3 birthed the slope to hell. No one knew, of course. They never did. Pete visited faithfully and held her close. Dee, you're doing so well. You'll be on your feet before you know it. Dolores eked out a weak smile today. Something sinister was going on in her brain, and she couldn't stop it. Pete watched and fixed her gaze. Dee? Dolores's eyes glazed. She was lost to a life she had escaped. Pete's voice was muffled. She saw the tears spill along his cheeks. I see you, but I don't care. You come in every day, you pretend to love me, then leave. He'll fix me. I'll be well soon. I want to be well, be a wife and mum again. I broke the family, and now I'll put it back together again. With his help, I'll fix things. I'll make things right. You'll see, we'll be a family again. Dolores was slipping away. Pete's blood ran cold when he saw the emptiness in her eyes. Doctor, what's happening? Her friend Philomena was more vocal. Did the bullet or surgery affect her brain? We need answers. Pete looked to Dolores' sisters, who had just arrived. Dolores was always a good girl, even as a child. She was expected to be responsible and kept us in line. If we messed up, she got the blame. Could she be regressing to being under the thumb? She's worked so hard to reinvent herself. No, to find herself. Surgeon, Mr. Marsden, listened to their impassioned pleas. He too noted Dolores' change in mood and demeanour. She looks haunted, he thought. Not a medical term, but the best he could come up with. I'll run some tests. Pete thanked him. Phil and her sisters left. One sister glanced at the other as they exited towards the car park. Once alone, their car made its way along the freeway. Marcy spoke. Her voice crackled. Younger sister Eve stiffened. You remember the day Dad came home drunk? Mum sent us to our room. We hid under the bed. He shouted so loudly, then he threw the kitchen table across the room. I know because I could see under the door. Mum cried. We all did. It was Dolores who hugged us among the toy boxes. She shook her head. She shook from head to toe. Then everything went quiet. We were too scared to come out. Eve fixed her eyes on the road. The exit approached. That scared the shit out of me. I was 7, you 9, and Dolores only 10. We were babies. Do you remember what happened next? Eve pulled over. Tears filled her eyes and ran onto her chest. They seared her heart. Dolores. He dragged her out and beat her. She begged him to stop, but he wouldn't. She was black and blue. Marcy and Eve were powerless to stem the tears. Dolores was beaten because the ashtray wasn't on the table waiting for him. It was her job to place it there. In his drunken rage, he maimed their mother and pummeled Dolores. Life was black from that night on. Mum told the neighbours, I'll have to stop. You'll have to wait for next time.
Jeez, that's not gonna get irritating, is it?
I actually didn't know it did that.
Ah. Jeez, I hope that no one has like traumatic war memories. They can just get triggered and.
Try and turn that on.
Thank you, Jen. Sorry for that rude conclusion. Like I said, I was totally against the clock. I told Kev, don't do that. I'd never suggest anything like that. How do you find the act of writing a novel after the children's stories?
It's very different.
Is it still gratifying and fulfilling?
Yeah.
Cool. And when are you going to finish it?
I'll give me a break.
He's going to come forward with a song called What If? Do you need your stool?
I don't know. I might try it without it today.
Okay, so everyone please welcome Kate.
Hello.
Don't you need your ukulele?
I don't know.
Oh, sorry.
I was practicing this week and then realised I'd actually missed a verse, so that's why I've got it with me. Oh my God, 3:55.
Reset it.
So I went to,
held her up.
I missed last month because I ended up at a songwriting retreat, which I initially thought was a writing and yoga and other retreats, but anyway, it was good. So I wrote this song, What If? So it's like, yeah, one of the first songs I've written. Certainly the first song I've written that I've performed. Oh, hang on. Have I forgotten it? Can you hear that? What if next time I let things unfold instead of seeking a quick resolution? What if I get my shit together instead of focusing on you? 'Cause you're like a mirage, shimmering out on a distant horizon. Yeah, I love your visage. You're a dream I dreamed of passion. What if I looked into the mirror that you are, didn't flinch or turn away? What if the answer is in me? What if the answer's here today? 'Cause you're like a mirage, shimmering out on the distant horizon. Yeah, I love your visage. You're a dream I dreamed of passion. And if my self-respect was really all that strong, would your lack of care really matter? And if I love myself as much as I said, why would I so easily shatter? 'Cause you're like a mirage, shimmering out on the distant horizon. Yeah, I love your visage. You're a dream I dreamed of passion. My peace of mind appears like my heart, fragile gossamer, easy torn apart. Was I lost, or did I leave? Was that a story I like to weave? 'Cause you're like a mirage, shimmering out on the distant horizon. Yeah, I love your visage. You're a dream I dreamed of passion. Yeah, I dreamed of passion. You're a dream I dreamed.
That was beautiful. And that's an original composition. Well done. Kate, are these yours?
Oh, yes.
In the case?
Yeah, thanks.
That's good. Sorry, I haven't put it away yet.
Thank you. They sit
Thank
in
you.
bags.
So when you're releasing an album?
I don't know about that. That's my first song.
First of many. Cool. Sorry, just allowing Oscar to growl at the new people. Jane, is this your first time here?
Yep.
I'm not calling you up, I just shouted out your name for the hell of it.
I'm coming up anyway.
Memoir, The Truth He Rejected.
Yep.
The truth I'm rejecting that you're coming up anyway. Okay. Everyone,
Yeah.
please welcome Jane.
I'm 47 now and a mother myself, but before I was anyone's mother, I spent the first 6 weeks of my life in foster care. I don't remember it, of course, but sometimes I wonder whether the body remembers what the mind cannot. Whether before I even understood language, I already learned what it felt like to wait to be claimed. This story doesn't start with my children. It starts with a table at McDonald's, where a man I didn't know introduced me to his wife and children, and then disappeared again. I met my father for the first time when I was 11. Not in a park or a home or anywhere warm and welcoming. It was at a McDonald's restaurant, the kind of place that divorced parents use for awkward handovers. The kind of place where no one really belongs, but everyone pretends they do. I still remember the plastic table with the hard yellow seats, the smell of fries hanging in the air, the distant shrieks of children in the play area, and Ronald McDonald grinning from the corner of the room, frozen in fiberglass cheer, presiding over our strained silence like a clown at a funeral. I'd imagined this day so many times. Maybe he'd hug me when he saw me. Maybe he'd say he was sorry. Maybe he'd tell me he'd miss me every day of my life. Instead, he looked like a stranger searching for a way to get through the afternoon, a way to escape. My father brought his wife and 2 sons, toddlers then, 2 and 4. I sat across from them, unsure whether I was supposed to speak first. His wife smiled, but only with her mouth. "You're very blonde," she said. Then she looked towards her boys and her husband. "You don't really look like him or them." I froze. Even at 11, I understood what she meant. I looked at my father, waiting for him to say something. He didn't. He just stared into his coffee and let the silence settle between us. And that silence said everything. I didn't realise it then, but that afternoon taught me how to disappear. Not all at once, but just enough to survive. The visit didn't last long. No hugs, no warmth, no promise of seeing me ever again. Just fluorescent lights, sticky tables, other families around us, happy ones. On the drive home, I stared out the window, pretending I was okay, because I didn't know what else to do. The drive there had been full of hope, butterflies, questions. The quiet belief that maybe afterwards I wouldn't feel so different anymore. But the drive home felt flat, heavy. Nothing prepares you for the moment you realise your father does not want you. Not loudly, not cruelly, just calmly, casually, like your absence from his life costs him nothing at all. For a long time, I thought the afternoon was about rejection, but as I've gotten older, I've realised it was also about something else. Silence, secrets, the quiet power of what people are willing to deny in order to protect the life they've built. Because my father didn't just reject me, he rejected the truth of me. And when a child grows up knowing their existence makes other people uncomfortable, they learn very quickly how to make themselves smaller. For years I thought that story began at McDonald's table, but now I wonder if it began much earlier, in those first 6 weeks. Before memory, before language, before my father ever rejected me face to face. Maybe some part of me had already learned what it meant to exist between people, waiting to be chosen, accepted, not rejected. This is my story, the truth he rejected.
Hey Jane, that was heartbreakingly sad. Is this your first reading?
Yep.
How'd you find us?
I live locally and it just popped up. I've obviously been doing a fair bit of searching for self-published memoirs and things like that, so it obviously hit my algorithm. And I've driven past this that many times, this place, in 20 years and not ever thought about it. So I think it was kind of probably meant to be.
Well, if you did it 15 years ago, we weren't here, so that probably wouldn't help. And is that part of a bigger piece?
I hope so, yeah. So I've written more.
Yep.
But yeah, that was kind of the start piece that that I think kind of wanted to test that out and see whether there's...
And you find the writing cathartic of talking about...
No, I haven't. So I found it, I started it and I initially found it quite okay. So he kept me hidden for 32 years. So for a very long time, no one knew about me and people now have found out about me. And so I did write because I felt like actually finally people think I'm normal,
Yep.
but really there's a lot of abnormal behind me that's been hidden. And so I did start to write and it was a little bit cathartic and then I actually just had to stop. So I've stopped for the last 12 months because it's just like actually...
So very confronting.
Yeah, because there's... So it's not just my dad, it's the mother piece and so there's a lot to unpack. So it hasn't been cathartic but now it's like actually no, I feel like I need to thank you.
Kylie, with those smart little remarks there. Kylie is the author of how many books? 5? 4? You sure? You're working on the 5th now, though, aren't you? No. Black belt, karate, dojo, owner, master. Well, that's all true. You own Elfin Karate.
Elfin Karate.
What's it called? Elfin Martial Arts, sorry. Yeah. Yep. Close. Everyone, please welcome Kylie.
What'd you put it down for?
It doesn't go any lower.
I haven't been writing much of late because, I don't know, there's a block, something's going on, I don't know what it is. This one I wrote a while ago. It was left out of my book because apparently it's not the best, but I'm going to read it anyway. It's called Mortal Decline. It's been prophesied before, Nostradamus and Orwell's 1984. Tales of how humans rise, technocracy preceding humanity's foul demise. It all feels surreal as we watch it unfold. I'm starting to wonder, truth be told, if I want to see how it all ends. Empowerment, an excuse for moral decay. Gender that swings simply any old way in defiance of natural laws. Community dismantled for individualism. New drugs to pair with diagnoses of endless isms, justifications for behavioural flaws. Science, a field that used to be honourable, seems bought and sold by whomever is profitable. A grand entrance here by big pharmaceuticals. I implore us to ask, is it really suitable to teach sex education to 6-year-olds at school? Why not stick to the ABCs? Why must they be stripped of their innocence so young? Indoctrinated and medicated, overscheduled and hyperstimulated, eyes glued to the blue light screens. Unaware of the damage, parents seem more afraid of the sun. Art is now digital, devoid of personality and soul. Music is, for the most part, dismal, preaching violence and promiscuity like it's a new sermon, broadcast to the congregation of palm-gazing, vermin-like creatures, zombified, lured by garbage. Lives played out on unsocial media. Everyone wants to be famous, so much so they're shameless. How low can the attention-seeking stoop? Big Brother government grows increasingly sinister. Who can we trust? Not politician, not minister. It feels like there's nowhere to turn. Unless we begin to look to each other, remembering we were made to be sister and brother, father and mother, loved and lover. For goodness sake, stop making us kill and hate one another at the behest of rich men in robes, cloaked in secrecy, shrouded in mulling, pulling strings all over the globe. I pray for the realizing of a more connected time, of reverence to nature and things of divine innocence protected by justice and honour. When communities matter, when family values are stronger, to save us from mortal decline. I've got a minute and this is another one, it's unfinished. It's called Not God's Word. This cannot be the word of God, not screams for death from a hostile, bloodthirsty mob. No, surely this is man's most sinful undertaking, twisting sacred words for the benefit of a weak and fragile few, wielding religion as an excuse for whatever deeds their tyrannical reptilian brains decide on making. This mustn't be true. I pray it's a lie. I cannot fathom our Creator would wish those made in his image forsaken and to die. Not simply because of a change of name. The Lord's epithet in another tongue sounds different, whilst the being remains the same. Beyond the perceptible shadows of doubt, we must all agree that there is but one eternal maker, and hence certainly it must be the same supreme being we are arguing and fighting about. Why is it then that we cannot find peace? When will the hatred and senseless violence cease? Can it be perhaps that we have been deceived? Are those in power to be believed that they alone are privy to the mystery of creation and our history and the nature of humankind? To the truth of our reality, are we still blind? And if God is our shepherd, are we merely sheep? Thank you.
Kylie, the first time resonated with a lot of people. I'm not sure about that. Kylie, not sure about that oops line. That probably shouldn't have been there.
I'll take that one out.
Yeah, you should take that one out. Didn't you have a poem like that didn't go into collection but it's shortlisted for something?
Which one?
Oh, this hence the question.
Oh, the shortlisted one for the KPP or the
Yeah.
other one, the honourable mention?
But wasn't there one where like you didn't put it in the collection and that one shortlisted?
Oh yeah, that was the dressing up, not one of these.
Okay, yeah. But it just sort of shows you like what we think sometimes is not our best work
Ah,
goes out into the world and does a lot better than we give it credit for. Bo, you have a story called Clay. Where is Bo? Bo is our most senior editor, so he really enjoys when people are so constructively critical. He actually would love if all of you come up after the reading and give him feedback.
I don't even need constructive.
Yeah, just feedback. Please welcome Bo.
Ask not for whom the chirper chirrups, it chirrups for thee. Yes, this is part of a story, very work in progress. I'll just get right into it. Once upon a time, I died, but that's the unimportant part. The place was empty when I got here, a real bloody void. Where were the rivers of dead, the songs of ethereal guardians, the judgment of dispassionate gods? I waited. Were they in waiting, ready to unfurl themselves at the right time? This would be the time for the gods to give passiveness a break. I was wrong. Maybe their time didn't match mine. Maybe they were still waking up while I threatened to die of boredom. I imagine myself ebbing in a lonely river, bobbing like a cork. Hydrotherapy, stilling the mind while it contemplated the stillness of its environment. All the rage, once upon a time. I imagine the river taking me to a vast delta, the vein of water splitting into capillaries as it bled into the ocean. For me, the ocean was a thick treacle rather than water. I could almost sit on it, no fish underneath. But the distant shore rang with bells and resounded with gull song. The shore couldn't be that far away already. I jerked myself into relative uprightness, instincts telling me to be terrified of being lost at sea. I felt the water bounce and waver beneath me. It was there. I had made ground in the void and softened it into something of my own making. It became rigid and jagged as I was cast ashore on a craggy nugget of land. Every step I took echoed into new rises and falls. Still the bells from some unseen stretch of land, no more substantial to me now than lines on a map. Yet, I held the pen here. I turned the compass. The island stretched into being. Were the jutting columns nascent mountains or a facsimile of trees? Why not both? Photosynthesis is for the living. They stretched higher and taller, seeking a ceiling and never finding it, but my reach extended. A muscle flooded with vitality. My new landmass unfurled like a grand lotus. At first, I just crammed it with different geometric shapes, whatever I could think of. Some spheres for the top of things, just because it seemed to make sense. And some hexagons to the cliffs, because a photo of the Giant's Causeway was the background pic on my desktop. Building blocks for a new frontier. They become more complex in time, such as it was. This place was empty of gods, and so I should make this place a shrine to myself, the eminent authority of this boundless territory. I was no lesser than any deity I'd ever known to hold dominion over its own domain. Then my scope changed as I sculpted new shapes in the clay and considered my own shape in things. Yes, here I was eminent. Unless, of course, I was the cosmic equivalent of a toddler given a sandbox to play in while the grown-ups played on their phones and did grown-up things. Fuck that. What would it take to tantrum enough to get their attention? That's it for now.
So you must have a pretty big body of work by now, Bo.
More of a bloody misshapen body that could probably stand some exercise.
Bloody misshapen body.
Submit more things. I'm sitting on a lot of unfinished scraps that need to be finished.
Marie, you are coming up to read or talk about Galaxy Trotters. Everyone please welcome Marie.
Galaxy Trotters has a new cover. Thank you to Les and Kev. So there it is. So I'm going for the bigger format, you know. Over the holidays, I noticed there was this New York bestseller covering a journey to Mars, and I thought, gosh, it's the same territory. Why not? So here it is. So I'll just read UFOs over Yarrambat. It did actually happen years and years ago that there were UFOs spotted over Yarrambat. So I think the Leader newspaper featured it, and I thought, well, why not? UFOs over Yarrambat. Yarrambat residents swamped Nillumbik Shire Council on Friday with reports of unidentified flying objects in the area surrounding the Yarrambat golf course and Plenty Gorge. Plenty farmer Mr. George Yates said, I had just fed the horses and was walking back to the house when I looked up and saw two shiny flying objects. I see planes fly overhead all the time, but these were not planes. They flew low over the paddocks and headed towards the golf course. Amateur photographer 15-year-old Scott Smythe reported seeing UFOs on Friday morning on his way to Yarrambat Secondary College. They flew over the road. One was red and the other gold. My first instinct was to run, but I stopped, took out my camera and photographed them. Then they flew away. Retiree Mr. Addison Henry, a regular at Yarrambat Golf Course, reported seeing an unusual object flying overhead at 2 p.m. on Friday. I had reached the 7th hole, he recalled, and I stopped to take a drink of water. When I saw this thing hovering above the gum trees where the archers that shoot their targets. It was above the trees for about a minute before it flew away. Yellow Gum Ranger Mrs. Veronica Miller also reported her sighting on Friday at 4 p.m. I pulled into the park and took some seedlings out of the ute when I heard this whirring sound overhead. I looked up and saw the UFO. It was gold and had a really weird shape, but it flew away before I could get a better look. Nillumbik Shire Council reported the sightings to the World Space Organisation in Watsonia. WSO, it's now the freeway, WSO Chief Dr. Gamble Proctor said, we're investigating the UFO sightings and we will report our findings to Nillumbik Council. If any member of the public has seen the UFOs, please contact the UFO hotline immediately on 0800 1156. The bus churned up a cloud of fine dust along Goldsworthy Lane as it slowed to a stop. Nikki and Peter thumped down the metal steps, dragging their bags behind them. Nikki was accustomed to the dusty, unmade lane, named after her late uncle, a gold prospector. He had fought to keep his property intact, but the water board had bought most of it, and made it part of Yellow Gum Park Reserve. The area part of spectacular Plenty Gorge had formed during lava flows about 1 million years earlier. All right, that will do. Thank you. I'll put a couple of bookmarks down there. All right, and this is the old cover. So it's on the Victorian Premier's Reading Challenge.
Too bad if you're not ready.
Are you ready, Raj? Are you ready to go for the UFO Fest? Everyone, please welcome. This is your first time here also? First reading, or are you ready before?
No, first reading.
Have you ever been taken by aliens?
No.
So this is not an autobiography.
This is the first chapter of a novel. To get through it in 4 minutes will be a challenge, but we'll just take it from the top.
We know UFOs can freeze time. All right, everyone, please welcome Raj.
A small introduction, I'll start from there. Apart from the presence of a character or two, the first chapter of this story follows an actual event that occurred on the morning of April the 6th, 1966, at Westall High School. But beyond that, how could anyone imagine that such a thing might happen in isolation and not be a part of a much longer and far more convoluted tale? Chapter 1. Owen Allman stood transfixed, his 12-year-old eyes riveted upon a thing of fiction. He was on the fledgling playing field of a nearly new high school, built at the very edge of a growing city, and so young that it as yet had no senior students. The boys of Owen's PE class were playing football, while the girls were playing cricket further down on this large rectangle of young grass, each group with a teacher in charge. But Owen had checked out completely. Somewhere at the edge of his vision, he vaguely saw Brian Rule, that Brian Rule had turned to follow his gaze. A moment later, and Brian's cry of elation and alarm triggered a similar response that raced to all corners of the field, because a silver disc with a rounded hump at its centre was silently staggering towards the school from above the new estates to the north, its movements anything but graceful. By now the whole class had focused upon it, just as it leapt to the west, where a second disc suddenly appeared, intercepting the first as shepherded over the schoolyard. And there it encountered a third of their kind, arriving to bounce it back again. Cries of fear mixed raucously with peals of hysterical laughter, but the first disc now had Owen's full attention, ricocheting around the sky with the lightning-fast movements of its two interceptors timed to keep it on an erratic forward path. A girl flashed past him, heading to the nearest school block. Moments later, Owen could hear her throwing open classroom doors, one after another, her high, shrill voice repeatedly alerting everyone to the events occurring outside. Then the bell rang for morning recess. Balls and bats hit the grass, pens and textbooks were left abandoned, and a stream of young teenagers loudly poured down the steps of the school building. The drone of aircraft engines mixed with the raised voices of the kids as two light planes approached at speed, with 3 more closing quickly. They targeted the outer 2 discs, but the visitors hurtled aside as if avoiding an irrelevant nuisance before snapping back to their posts on each flank of the playing field. The first disc stopped barreling around the sky to hover above the power pylon that stood like a sentinel at the bottom corner of the school. Owen felt himself being drawn towards the vessel, even before it lurched on towards a stand of trees at a short distance. Both teachers had gravitated back towards the classroom buildings, and the disc had slowed, so Owen had his chance. He bolted from the group, evading the boy's teacher by heading to a point beside the pylon where a few palings were missing from the school boundary fence. Brian Rule followed on his heels, with others stringing out behind, while a few of the girls slipped through a gap at the far end of the fence. Both groups had the drop on their teachers, who were left trailing in pursuit, shouting for them to come back. But Owen had reached the opening below the pylon, spotting the girls as he clambered between the fence rails. They had the inside running, entering a track that ran beyond the tangle of scrub that stood before the trees, with one of the girls outpacing the others. He quickly figured that from his end, the edge of a nearby market garden offered the clearest path. Brian and the others followed his lead as he sprinted a short distance up the unmade road beyond the school, looking back to see their teacher stall at the hole in the fence. Owen realised that the man was now caught between a body of students descending upon an obvious exit route and a handful of escapees who had beaten him to it. He stopped where he was, and Owen was free. He plunged through the 5-wire fence between the road and the garden beds, quickly finding himself sprinting over a frying grey soil, passing row upon row of carrots. As we reached the end of that, as far as we could get.
It's like waking up to go to work. How long have UFOs been in interest, Rog?
Oh yeah, since not far from here, Eltham, back of Mount Pleasant Road when I was young.
Yep.
And I said to my mate, we were there one night in the starlit sky. I said, wouldn't it be cool if a UFO came and picked us up and took us for a spin in a spaceship? And now, all these years later, I thought, oh, what can happen? So
Well, that Westfall one's a big one, which is actually getting a bit more exposure again. We actually just published an author, Vic Bonjour, and I was looking for the book, but apparently we don't have one on us at the moment. But he wrote about the Frederick Valentich case over Bass Strait called Double Dark. And in the US, they're obviously releasing all this stuff at the moment.
well, I don't know of a novel that is based on.
Yeah. I mean, obviously in Australia, we're a little bit... we don't have the same exposure as stuff that happens elsewhere. All right, when you came in, you would have got a raffle ticket if you paid to get in. So please take out that raffle ticket, and I'm going to draw the winner. Sorry? Oh, there's one more. Well, this would be rigged if she wins. She came in late too. She was trying to get like half price. So these are the raffle prizes, Kev. This lovely box of celebrations. I'm assuming that's the case. Kev? That's the raffle prize?
That's what it says on the front.
Yeah, I'm behind it. I don't know if you know how physics works. Okay, cool. So this lovely box of chocolates, expiry 1st of the 6th, 2024. Okay, here we go. And the winner is red A77. Marie, did she win last month? Did she win the month before also? There you go. So Marie's also releasing her 2 middle grade fantasy books.
Yeah, and what we've done is we've got new covers, so I'm really delighted. Each one represents a scene in the novel. And they're the same novels as the ones I have up there, but I've tried to be more competitive with the cover. So they, they're really an engaging scene from each one. So that's great. Thanks to Les and Kev again for helping me out.
Kev didn't do anything. Michelle! Everyone please welcome Michelle Burke.
It's fallen to pieces. There we go. Anyone who doesn't know Carbon Paul, this is the man.
Today's his anniversary. 10 years. I wasn't going to get upset, but here we go. So without this man's death, I wouldn't be here tonight. So, anyway. I'll get myself together. Now let's go into the selling spot now. On Anzac Day, I launched my 5th book called Edward Philip Harrington, the man they call the last of the bush balladers. Edward Harrington was my great uncle, and he was a poet and a writer in his own right. He died in 1966, and this is keeping his legacy alive. You couldn't. He wrote 4 books. He had musicals and everything else, and you couldn't get his books anymore. So I wanted him. Last September, I came up here and started talking about Uncle Ted, and then Les said, "Give me a call." And I got the copyright for him, and we're keeping it in the family now. So it's 70 years after I die, and I'm around here for probably another 25, 30, so that's what I'm hoping. And I had today, celebrating Paul's anniversary, I went to Fawkner where his ashes are, and I took a little chair and a picnic, and I had lunch with my husband, so there you go. And I took in some beautiful flowers. So this is a poem from Uncle Ted, and it's called The Taper, and it fits fittingly for tonight. The Taper. In every human bosom there lives a spark divine, a secret taper burning within a hidden shrine, mute witness to a power omnipotent, benign. Heed not the foolish shadows that overawe the mind, heed not the faithless shepherds, blind leaders of the blind. Knock and it shall be opened, or seek and you shall find. Though evil ones may threaten or foolish ones deride, that secret taper burning will be your guard and guide, and light you through the darkness, whatever may betide. How many a fiery prophet, how many a humble clown, has dared the cross and the giblet, the mitre and the crown, the storm the evil temples and drag their false gods down. There is another kingdom that lies beyond the tomb, a bright and happy region that knows not grief and gloom, where thieves break through and steal not, nor moth nor rust consume. This world that we inhabit must vanish, it is true. The earth, the skies, the ocean will melt like morning dew. Old, frayed and worn out garments, they must give place to new. Then shall the light within us, freed from its weary load, soar to those fair dominions, the spirit's true abode, where sin can never enter to canker or corrode. In every human bosom there shines a heavenly ray, a bright and quenchless taper, not subject to decay, mute witness to a kingdom that shall not pass away. Thank you. I have got books here if you want to buy one, 30 or 40. And he's our host for the spin the wing or whatever. Wing it to spin it to wing it.
So it must be hard, 10th year anniversary. It shows time doesn't fully heal any wound.
No, it doesn't. Braden still is
Yep.
here.
And those milestone moments are always raw.
They are.
I think I've depressed Eugenia. That's the biggest sigh I've ever heard. Thank God, what I do. I'm going to call you up now, Eugenia. Now that you've depressed the whole room with that sigh.
Oh, so I depressed them.
Yes, you.
She only sighed because her husband's still around.
True. Yeah, mine doesn't talk.
That should be a routine, Steve.
It's colder than the clock alarm.
Everyone, please welcome Eugenia. I'll let you make the announcement.
Okay. Oh, what okay, thank you.
I think it's in your hands.
Oh, well, yeah, this is my collection of short stories. It's called Gaia Unchained. And so there's 12 very short stories in there. I think it's quite an easy read. A lot of these stories have one element or a couple of elements that are actually relevant to me and my experiences. And if you read the book, I'll let you hazard a guess or maybe ask me what those things are. I'll just start reading one of these stories. This one's called Let's Dance. The teenagers hoot and high-five each other as they run through the supermarket aisles, knocking products off the shelves while evading the store security guard and the manager who are in hot pursuit. The customers are obviously in fear of their safety. Parents pull their children in close to them. Elderly couples clutch each other and hold their bags tightly against their chests. Shop assistants scream and cower under their registers. This is his first time out with the gang, and Leon is carried away by the thrill of the disruption and panic the boys are causing. No longer an outsider or a loner, he feels important, powerful, like he belongs. As he turns the corner into the baked goods aisle, Leon comes face to face with a middle-aged woman. He guesses she is in her late 40s. She is stocky and short with brown hair, brown eyes, and she has a pleasant expression on her face. She doesn't seem at all fazed by the goings on in the store. At 14, Leon is big for his age, and he knows that his height and his solid build can be intimidating. Spurred on by the antics of his mates, he deliberately steps into the path of the woman. She takes a step to the left. He steps out in front of her. She takes a step to the right. He steps into her path again. He takes a step forward towards her. She takes a step back. Then she takes a step forward towards him. Surprised, Leon takes a step back. He wonders if the others are watching this, but they are long gone, having jumped the exit security gates and bolted. The woman takes a step back and appraises the boy in front of her. Her earnest gaze is disconcerting to Leon. "All right," she says, with a mischievous look in her face. Her voice is rich and soothing. "Let's dance." She places her left hand on his right shoulder and her right hand in his left, arm slightly stretched out and bent at the elbow. Instinctively, his right hand encircles her, lightly touching on the small of her back. They must have looked like a pair of ballroom dancers at the beginning of their set. Then the music begins. At first, Leon thinks it's coming from the in-house radio, but it feels live. He can feel the pulsating vibrations as if there is an orchestra surrounding him. It is a music he has never heard before, gentle, melodic. There are violins and flutes and a rhythmic beat. He cannot stop his feet from moving. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The woman begins to twirl him around, swaying in time with the music. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. His skin prickles and the hairs on the back of his neck stand on end. The lights in the supermarket begin to dim and fade. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. No one seems to notice them. The other customers, the shop assistants, the aisles melt into the shadows of his peripheral vision. The only thing solid and real is himself and the woman. Leon draws in a deep breath. He cannot free himself from the woman's arms. He cannot stop himself from gazing into her deep dark eyes that draw him into another time and space. And that's where I'm going to leave you.
So for those who don't know, this is brother and sister.
Double act.
And I get the feeling that's a conversation they just have, most nights anyway. I was thinking they hate history, but you can go forward. So you're going into the future to see things that you brought up, Steve. 2027 Melbourne Cup. What about this year's Melbourne Cup? It's only a few months away.
No, I'm not that good. I have picked a few winners, though.
Through time travel cheating? Why don't you go back and kill Hitler or something?
Oh, can't be bothered.
Okay. I went back and killed Hitler's puppy, and that's how he turned into Hitler. Well, that went well. Simon, you have a story called Not Alive. So it's a story about my love life. Jesus, just really working well. Everyone, please welcome Simon.
Thank you. I have finished a draft of my novel. Thank you. And I'm going to jump into it roughly 2/3 of the way through. At a crux of the interesting point. Well, I'll let you decide that. Just a bit of a backstory so you're up to speed with where we're at. The main character, Jay, he's stolen his grandfather's memories. He's been his purpose to try and discover what his grandfather's been up to all his life because he's been secretive and not revealing some interesting facts about the past. And he's found that they've overwhelmed him and his health his mental health is deteriorating, and is at a point where they've decided that they need to put his mind within the mind of his grandfather and go and retrieve some of the official memories that are stored. All speculative fiction, of course. Jay, says Rose. Yup, he mumbles. It's done. Ted too? No, we're just starting the programming. Jay watches as the nanobots dump their mind data from his brain into a machine that turns everything he knows and remembers in everything from his subconscious onto a half-dozen computer chips. His fear of being made redundant or turned into a robot is one of the many entrusted to this modern storage closet. He feels empty, like he's no longer a unique individual. With these 6 gold memory discs, Jay could prove to be a dozen people, or every single person on the face of the earth, all different bodies with his brain. Would his mind work in another body? For the first time, he feels possessive of his experiences, his life, his identity. He feels that it doesn't belong to him, to anyone but him. All Jay has gathered over his lifetime takes less than 2 minutes to fill the discs. Another couple of minutes and a new batch of bots are programmed to turn his grandfather into him. His heart leaps, then runs, then flees, but cannot escape, bound within the confines of his physical body. Jay watches Ted as his blood is drawn and the bots are sent in. Ted is withdrawn with a blank expression, unaware of the precarious state of his mind and its impending death in its present incarnation. His mind has been killed 26 times prior, but never once taken by a coloniser. Ted's eyes flicker and dart, reacting to the reprogramming process and looking all the world like a malfunctioning android. Suddenly his eyes stop moving and then shift to focus on Jay. Jay sees the change in the 95-year-old's eyes. He can sense himself in there, and it sends a tingle down his spine. There are now 2 of him, and the fear of becoming redundant comes one step closer to reality. This is as close to another person as he could possibly be in his life. He could never be as close to Rose, or Hara, or Gilbert as he is to this other version of himself, driving Ted's body. Ted now knows so much about him. Everything, and it makes him feel vulnerable. He senses that the longer they remain in these separate bodies, the further they will diverge from their shared self. This other version will have different thoughts and views based on his new perspective, and his story will be different. Jay looks at Rose, and it hits him. Ted loves her just as much as he does. He thinks of Jang and the fetish for older men. I'll leave it there. Thank you.
What are you doing with your book, Simon? What are you going to do with it ultimately? Well, you go, nice answer. I forgot to give these out for the spin and wing it, but I don't know who to give it to. Who do I give it to? One?
We'll fight over it.
Should I just drop it there and let you fight?
Yeah. No worries, I'll find a good home for it.
Is a good home your stomach? Excuse me if I mispronounce this. George, or is that how you pronounce it? Or is it
Australia, it's George.
George? But it was like Jorge or something like that?
In Amsterdam, it's Jorge.
Oh, Yorka. Okay, cool. First time here too.
Yes, on this.
Okay, everyone please welcome George.
It's a memory. I will go there, but I made my debut, not here. I made my debut. I had a lot of performances in the Netherlands, but in Amsterdam, actually in cafes. And I made my debut in Café Time is Too Short. So I stood there, I was nervous, full house, and I had to go on the first. And this is what I did that evening. I said, life is too short, but I'm not. And I walked away from it. The shortest performance ever. Now I have to run for time. I wanted to put this beautiful man over there for the timer, or stand here and no, I keep calm. I heard the Melbourne Cup. I went to the Melbourne Cup for the first time in my life, and I had to write, excuse me already, I had to write a poem about it. I have never seen so many heads of tulle with invisible threads and finished cotton, and dresses, radiant dresses, with high heels in swampy grass, fragile as the wind, walking seamless suits along a course lined with roses. My tie feels tight around my neck, like the bit of the horses racing with whip and sweat for Camblers and Country in the never-ending fucking Melbourne Cup. Another debut was in a cafe in the Netherlands, and I know the cafe was not so happy with me because this was published in their book. And I had to write about the cafe, and this is what I wrote about the cafe. By the way, when I went to Australia for the first time and I had to make a piss somewhere, I found out that they were all very low. So finally I found one of my own size, but then I saw that people wash their hands there. So that was a little mistake. It really happened. Cafe wall. In this cafe rules not the light of summer. The man behind the bar is breathing as years of darkness. At the wall of the dirty toilet, light spreads as a swarm of silver fish. It is the color of the upcoming farewell, the dead digger's song of my piss, the horrifying decay of the fly I can never hit. Yeah. I have to finish this one. So my mother, she died 5 years ago, and the first thing I published here was on a little bookmark, a poem for my mother. I made it when she died, and I reclaimed it on her funeral, and later many people did it as well, so that's very... Mothers. Brave she is, that mother of yours, on the road to let go, on her way to other light. Brave she is, that mother of mine, on the road to let go, on her way to other light. Brave they are, those mothers of ours, on the road to let go, on their way to other light. I wish for calm breath, noises from sea, around them enough love on their journey. And there once arrived in an oasis of light, calmness and tender noises, a parting gift. Forgotten wishes, unspoken words, lost gestures, forgotten beaches, lit candles. Brave silence is approaching. Brave woman they are. That mother of yours and that mother of mine.
Thanks, George. You local, or where are you coming from? Outside of
Northcote.
Northcote. Oh, cool.
Since 3 years, and sometimes Amsterdam. I have to go back. My fifth grandson will be born, and that's a funny story, or it's a very special. One of my books will be published here, but I have to wait because I will want the name of my fifth grandchild in it. So
Okay. All right.
we talk further.
We'll have the launch here.
Yes.
And when you come from Amsterdam, just catch a train?
Say it again?
When you just come from...
Sometimes I don't understand those.
When you come from Amsterdam, then you just catch the train?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I don't think Mikey covers it.
Here, the public transport.
At the moment, because petrol's so high.
I am here.
Yeah. Just wait until the government gets back in. Steve, you've been waiting patiently. Which is why I'm going to call someone else. No. Steve, come up. You've got a lot happening in your life.
Yes.
Got major announcements coming? No. Wait till you get in front of the mic.
Water conference next week.
About water?
Yes.
Cool.
Stormwater and sewer modelling, really exciting stuff.
Has anyone ever peed in the water? I was just tying two acts together.
Okay. Well, today I actually want to introduce you to a special friend who's recently come into my life. and he's a bit wiggly.
From Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
No. I'll just bring him out, and he's a bit nervous.
Oh.
This is Shuey. He's very nervous. Just okay. Okay. What's that? Why did I bring you here? Well, Shuey, you're precious to me, Shuey. I wanted the people to know that. Because you see, until Shuey came into my life, I'd forgotten how important a shoehorn is to people. And I'm a man of a certain age and girth, and with Shuey I can sort of, do things. I can put my boots on again, which is fantastic. So Shuey, do you want to say hello to the people? Oh. No, they don't have smelly feet. They're all nice people, okay? So I'm sure you'll find they're really nice people. Here we go. See, they're all very nice people. No one's got smelly feet. Oh, that's Les. Yes, Les looks a bit scruffy, but there's no need to impugn that his personal habits aren't, his personal hygiene is not right. Anyway, so this is Shuey. I thought everyone should meet him, and Shuey would like to say a joke. Would you like to hear Shuey say a joke?
Yeah.
Okay, it's a joke. Okay, the joke is, why did the shoe get horny? I don't know, Shuey. Why did the shoe get horny? Because it was put in a box with this matching pair. That's really quite sweet, Shuey, actually. That's not two shoes. So is that all you got for us? Oh, yes, you got another one for us. Okay. What's this one? How many feet can you fit in a shoe? Okay, we're talking about a single shoe? And we're talking human feet. Okay, I'm going to hazard a guess and say one. Well, that's not right. Well, what is it then? 2,568? That's a very specific number, Shuey. How'd you come up with that? Oh, that was the record at the bowling alley you used to work at. Oh, Shuey. I had no idea you worked at the bowling alley. That must have been terrifying for you. All those feet. Oh, there. It's okay. So you're with me now. Okay? Those days are behind you. Look, and I don't have smelly feet. I don't have smelly feet. If I had smelly feet, Jen would have said something. Yes, I know she's very nice. Yes, she is. Yes, very kind. Yes. And she's very polite. Yes. No, but she's not polite enough to not tell me I had smelly feet, okay? So I think it's time for us to go now. The bell's gone, okay? So say goodbye to everyone. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Is that true?
It's got eyes.
Jen, why are you getting near this man's feet? What's happening there that we don't need to know? Just had so many visuals there when you talked about that. I've got two more people on the list to read. Is there anyone who came in late who didn't get to put their name on the list? Like Sandra. Right, you want to read or talk? Is that a yes?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, come up. Sandra Harwood is an author of 4 books.
Yes.
Cool, got that one right. Life coach also.
And counsellor.
And counsellor.
And teacher.
And teacher. What year do you teach?
At the moment, grade 2, but I used to teach mindfulness as a specialist.
And you're the grade 2's failed grade 2? No, so you're a really good teacher.
No, they failed me though. No,
That's what children do. Everyone please welcome Sandra.
I'm going to make it short and sweet. This is called Peaceful Pathways. I could write about my historical experiences and shape it into a traumatic ending. Or I could write now, forgive, clear, delete, my memories, notice who I am right now, what I have gained and created, and choose to create something altogether different. I've heard the saying, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? So if I chose to be happy, I could allow myself a peaceful pathway and be content with who I am right now. If I could be at peace with myself right now, what could I create from this point of peace? What would my life look like in a month, 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10? I wonder. That's it. Thanks.
I'd rather be right than alone. What's the significance of the dragonfly pendant, Sandra?
Oh, thank you.
So, what's that mean?
Maybe freedom?
Oh, yeah.
Transformation.
Transformation, freedom, yeah.
Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who didn't get to put their name down because they might have come in a little bit late, or who have just changed their mind and decided they're going to come up and read, like Tess? Okay. Tess is a new intern here, so I don't want to embarrass her by pointing her out behind the bell. Kylie Baker, actually, you made a point ages ago, just said, like, if you really like someone's act or reading or whatever, go up to them after the night's over and talk to them and tell them. Because it's always great to get that sort of feedback when you're an artist. It's really hard slog. You never know whether you're good enough. So when someone comes up to you and tells you your stuff reached them, it connected with them, it really makes it worthwhile. Ruja, sorry, I've left you until second last. Ruja is the author of 2 books, two and a half with a translation, and you've been published in other anthologies, and you're just running hot at the moment. Everyone please welcome Ruja.
Hi. Just a shortish poem. Calm seas plus waves equals life. This night sky is clear, warm and seductive. Thousands of star dances to the leader moon charm. The sea is calm. It shines like a mirror, the reflection of the moon, silent and hypnotic. My back leans on an old pine. Its dry needles are soft, the scent is intoxicating, desirable and seductive. With your head in my lap, my heartbeat sprints. Your green eyes are 2 embers igniting this idol. I am on the road of no return. Path unknown, but destination very much my own. After half a century, I'm still at my destination. The night sky, the moon, the stars are the same. The sea, but a different one is here. The pine trees are here, but the Adriatic is not, I fear. Thank you.
So when's your next book coming out, Ruja? But so that means it's somewhere.
It is somewhere.
Cool.
Yes.
Before I call the final act, does anyone have any announcements to make? Any, celebrate your achievements. Don't just sort of bury them. So nobody has anything to say. Wow, it's a quiet crowd.
I didn't win the Next Generation Indie Book Awards.
But you entered.
I entered.
A lot of people sort of. It's the thing of a lot of authors. It's like they say it's not worth submitting because I'm not going to get accepted. I'm not going to win. I'm not going to do this. It's like you don't know until you submit. And there's plenty of stories I've experienced it myself where you submit something and just think nothing of it, or it's some piece that's just had a long string of rejections and it gets up and wins, or it gets placed or whatever. And like I said, it's some gratification. All these awards are subjective, but you can't win unless you're in it. All right. Richard, you have a poem called Who Knows?
Thanks, Les. Further to announcements, etc. This isn't really an announcement. I told those who were here last time that they should be following the AFL team North Melbourne. Not because I've ever barracked for North Melbourne in my entire life, but my grandson is currently playing for them, and he's had 7 games and he's kicked 19 goals, I think. So his name is Cooper Trembath, and he's number 47. And, but anyway, that hasn't got a lot to do with what we're here for tonight. Now, getting back to the crux of it, the first one that I want to read is "The Day We Walked Away." Where have you gone? Each way I turn, the path is blocked with barricades. Where must I look? What must I do to find your laughter once again? Are we so changed that we, the we that once we were, is just a half-forgotten dream? Are we but memories of happier times, shared joys, ambitions, plans? How did we slide from such a peak? When did the fledgling drift of snow become an avalanche? How do we turn back time and heal the wounds? Too late? Perhaps. But we will not forget the view that once we shared from this life's highest peaks, the mountain air, the laughter in life's spring. You will remain a part of me and I of you, regardless of what autumn brings, of where its narrowing paths may lead. Which path, I ask? There are so many, and I know that you are there, just out of sight, beyond the bend of one of them. Which path? Which barricade? In which direction did you go the day we turned our backs and walked away? And to return a bit to a bit of hope for all of us, the other one I wanted to read is called "While Love Remains." We are never apart as long as I have memories of you and you of me. We are never apart as long as we can recall the things we shared. For as long as our memories endure and we care, the bond will remain. We shall never be apart for as long as memories shared are cherished by us both. Though land and water may separate us, they cannot separate our hearts. For the earth extends from where I am to where you are, and it is the same earth. I can touch it where I am, and you where you are, and the earth will link our touch. I can look at the moon and know that you are looking at the same moon. I can drift through time and know it is the same time I drift through with you. We shall never be apart for as long as love remains. We shall never be alone.
Well, I didn't time that. That was perfect timing.
Is there a nearest the pin?
Is there what? Yeah. Nice, Kev. Is there a prize for finishing right on the dot? We should actually encourage that. Next open mic night is 17th of June, so put it in your diary. Great to see a lot of new faces here tonight. It's always encouraging for us when we do see new people coming. Share the event with people, and you don't have to leave straight away. Feel free to mingle, to chat, have some snacks, have some drinks. Oscar will hover around anyone who has food, so feel free to give him little bits and pieces. Don't give him any alcohol. He's got a history with it, so you got to be careful. But he will hover around anyone he thinks he might get a feed from looking sweet and pathetic. But from Kev, from me, from Oscar, from Busybird Publishing, thank you everyone for attending, and we hope we see you all next month. Thank you.
No, it's